Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri signed an agreement with Malawi's foreign minister that aims at establishing a common committee to enhance cooperation between the two countries in different fields. And the Malawi foreign minister hailed the efforts exerted by Egypt. Meanwhile, the two sides said that they are looking forward for more cooperation between the two countries in the political and economic fields. Sir, how do you read this, and how can we cooperate in whether we're talking about political or economic fields to take benefit of this?
Well, again, if you look at the international relations, you see that Egypt are now, the strategies that is taking place now, they're concentrating on places that used to neglect in the past. And certainly, Africa is a continent with a lot of potential and a lot of business, expected business, you see, and a lot of untapped resources that we still didn't discover until now. So there'll be, in the field of petroleum, in the field of contracting and construction, I assume that Egypt has a competitive edge and could go there and do a lot of business with the African continent. On the other side, it's the political view, you see. Africa is a very important, because we are part of the African continent, actually, and there are a lot of common interests. You see, you have the Nile Basin, and you have the problem of the barrage, you see. So we need the support of these countries in order to, not only in this case, in other cases, if there are any differences in opinion, certainly the support, the political support of these countries would be very, very, very important.
Right, moving on to Akhbar al-Yawm newspaper. Minister of International Cooperation Sahar Nasri represented Egypt in the annual banking conference in Beirut, Lebanon, that was held on Thursday. At the beginning, Dr. Nasri sent the greetings of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to the Lebanese president, prime minister, as well as the Lebanese people. And the minister said that this conference is of great significance as many Arab countries are exerting huge efforts in order to achieve more financial stability and provide youth with job opportunities in order to overcome poverty and unemployment. And Nasser called on all society brackets to participate with the government in new projects. Just as a continuation, you were talking about the African countries and also talking about the Arab countries as well.
Exactly.
And how we can cooperate together when it comes to investments, again, job, unemployment, many important issues.
Actually, unfortunately, we've been talking a long time about Arab cooperation through a lot of devices, through the Arab League. They've been mentioning the Arab Unity and Arab Cooperation, but if we go to the grounds, nothing has been taken place until present. We have, you see, even not in the domains that you have just mentioned, in the agricultural domain, you see, we have countries like Sudan that that have a lot of land that they can use in order to reduce the imports of our food products from abroad, you see. So it's not only in this economic side or the banking side, you see, in the agricultural side, you see, we could feed ourselves, you see, instead of being threatened from abroad, that having political pressures, especially on the wheat, you see, when importing wheat, which is a strategic item here in this country, sometimes you had certain political pressures. If you don't do this and this and this, we're not going to give you that. So we could avoid all this, you see, by having also cooperation in the field of agriculture. And certainly the banking system will have a pivotal role in financing these projects. Again, probably there's still the banking system, unfortunately, in the Middle East is not still mature as it should be, you see. But however, we hope that through the banking institutes here in Egypt, through courses, through seminars, through getting people to be trained in international organizations abroad, like we used to have in the 70s, you see. In this case, we could have the expertise and we could start revamping the banking system in order to be updated as it should be with the international standards that we witness abroad, you see, in the banking system and financial systems.
Right. Moving on to Al-Ahram Online. A group of gunmen killed 8 army personnel in an attack on a military checkpoint in the restive northern Sinai region, where forces are battling a militant insurgency. Army spokesman Mohammed Samir said in a statement that assailants in 4x4 vehicles laden with large amounts of explosives attacked the checkpoint in the border region late on Thursday. A subsequent exchange of fire with forces and the explosion of the car and a separate bomb led to the death of 8 members of the army forces and 3 militants. And again, as we all,
Yes.
every day we can see this when we talk about the efforts exerted actually on the borders, and
Yes.
still it will take some time.
Unfortunately, yes. But still, I think that with
But we
international
achieved a lot
cooperation,
still,
yes,
again, in
yes,
this respect.
Yes, you see, we have the number of terrorist attacks has been reduced dramatically.
Yes.
Or not, I'm not thinking about Sinai. I'm talking about all over Egypt. You see, if you remember 3 or 4. You used to have a lot of, even in Cairo here, you remember you had in the one near the Italian consulate, which is quite nearby here, and a lot of incidents, people have been killed in the capital here in Cairo. This has been reduced or probably reached 0 dramatically. So probably, as I mentioned just now, probably these will not be coming from, these come probably from the borders from Sudan probably, which are very loose, and from the western borders, you see, these guys. So probably the control is very important, and again, it's the cooperation of the citizens, Egyptian citizens. If you see something wrong, we have to report it to the authorities.
Right, moving on to Al-Ahram Online. Egypt's population will reach 92 million on Thursday, rising by 1 million over the last 6 months and making the total number of Egyptians worldwide 100 million. And from 2006 to 2016, Egypt's population rose by 17.3 millions. Prime Minister Sharif Ismail warned in July of the current rate of population increase, saying it hinders the country's development plans. So,
really, I'm in complete disagreement with the last statement that it says that hinders.
I was just going to add here something. So even if this is the current situation, definitely there is something that we can take benefit
Exactly.
of.
We can deal with it, yes.
Yes.
And we can have a positive magnitude from it.
Through what? Through education.
Exactly. And training, you see, because human resources are considered one of the assets, you see. If you don't utilize them,
India, I've seen this
exactly.
in China, yes.
So again, I disagree with the Prime Minister that it's a burden. If you utilize them properly, if you train them properly. Unfortunately, I'd like to give you an example. The 6 million employees in the government, you see, I don't want to give the blame on them that they're not performing in a professional manner because they were not given the chance.
Let me say not only the government, sir. We are talking about
the whole country.
Not to the whole country, many of the people.
Yes.
Some of them also are working in the private sector,
yes.
because not all of the private sectors are professional, you know, to that extent.
Yes.
You know.
This is true.
This is something, because I don't want always to put the blame on the employees, because these employees are suffering a lot as well, because they have very limited salary, and they are suffering the challenges they are facing, and they cannot afford all what is going on. So they have burdens
this
on
is
them.
True.
But let's take a look at the population in general. We're talking about university, we are talking about education, you're talking about the vocational training, which is something very, very important.
True.
How to take benefit of all the people. Definitely, if you can provide them the environment, if you can teach them how to work efficiently, definitely they will work, because they want to increase their income.
This is true.
Instead of working in 2 or 3 jobs without sleeping,
yes,
he would like to live as a normal person.
Right. So he emphasized my point that these guys are victims. You see, they were not given the chance, you see, to improve themselves, because they've been tapped into a certain system which doesn't probably encourage creativity, which doesn't encourage that personal initiative, you see. So again, it's we should not blame these guys, because if they, I'm not talking only about government, other sectors, as you mentioned, in the private sector, the private sector does not invest, unfortunately, as it should do in human resources. This is on contradiction to the multinationals who spend a lot of money on training, and that's why we see the difference, please, of multinational working in multinational companies and international organizations and other people. It's not the blame, as you mentioned, on the employee, it's the blame on the employer again, and probably on the state that didn't give an importance to this factor. You see, this is considered an important factor that you have mentioned, and probably we should concentrate on it, because this is our competitive, this is what you have, one of the factors of production that you can maximize and use and get foreign currency out of it, you see.
Right. Moving on to Egypt independent. Egypt has topped a list of Middle East countries that are safe for tourism and vacations, and this is according to the U.S. government. Other NE countries deemed safe include Jordan, Oman, United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. In a supplement issued by the independent Indy 100, the U.S. government advised citizens to review the information on the levels of safety for countries around the world available through U.S. embassies and consulates. And I think this is one step towards
it's a good step,
improving
yes.
the state of tourism
Right.
here in Egypt.
Yes.
From Egypt Independent newspaper, the British Broadcasting Corporation, a publicly funded national broadcaster of the United Kingdom, has chosen the Egyptian cartoonist Dua Al-Adl, who works for Al-Masr Al-Yawm news organization, among its inspirational and influential women in 2016. One of the pioneers in a field that has long been dominated by men, she believes art can be the best medium to break taboos. Congratulations.
Yes, it's something good, yes.
And from اليوم السابع, Egypt's stock indices collectively retreated on Thursday due to the purchasing operations of foreign investors, while Arab and Egyptian investors tended to selling. The stock market lost £6.4 billion during the weekend trading, and the main EGX 30 index went down by 1.7%, and the balanced weight EGX 50 lost 1.4%. EGX 20 slide 1.8%, while the small and medium-sized businesses of EGX 70 were down by 4.48%. Meanwhile, the broader EGX 100 index retreated by 0.9%.
Again, you see, if you witness the stock market within the last 15 days after the liberalization and the flotation of the Egyptian pound, there has been a dramatic rise in all these indexes. So it's quite normal then, you see the stock market goes ups and down. It has their ups and downs. So this is an indication that a lot of people, after they have made money, they're selling their stocks, so the thing is going down again.
Right. At the end, Mr. Mostafa Tammam, political and economic analyst, thank you very much for joining us. Well, right now, let's move on to a quick break, and then we'll be back to resume our breakfast show.